I see why this thing failed so drastically.
Oh my god.
This is such a cheap and nasty design.
Ask someone to list what the most important bit on a car is, and most likely their answer will be brakes, something that this Clio doesn't really have. When we go over the recent MOT that it completely failed, it has 4 instances of brake failure. Brake pipes, brake discs, brake pads, discs front and rear as well. So this car clearly is not very good at the minute. Obviously we're going to replace the brakes with some nice Febby Bilstein bits. We're also going to replace the rear wheel bearing that comes with the brake discs themselves. And finally, the messed up lines, we're either going to replace the hard lines themselves or they're going to be replaced for braided. So this Clio is going to be a fantastic driver once we're done. There we go.
Yeah, nice. That automatic looks hideous to me. Spinny, spinny. Oh, that's right back. Give it a look.
That is the thinnest brake disc I've ever seen in my entire life. Oh my god, and that... Oh. Okay, I see why this thing failed so drastically on its MOT. Same thin motherfucker. And the brake line looks to have been... No, it hasn't. Oh, that is gone. Oh, that doesn't sound encouraging. God, come on. This is the cheapest way I've ever seen a company convert a car from rear drums to rear discs. Basically, the way you take the caliper off is it's in 2 pieces. So, your first portion of the caliper here unbolts from the back. There is a tiny little black slot that goes over the pads to lock them in place that you have to pull a pin out of, knock it out, and then you'll be able to access the bolt. You don't have to wind the piston back with a regular rewind tool. You can do it with a flathead screwdriver, it makes life easier. But honestly, this is such a cheap and nasty design. There we go. So as I said, the pad is still being held in by this little bracket here that you've got to knock out this way, and then you can then slide out the tops and the bottoms of the pads. Now these are unevenly worn, so clearly this needed to be sorted, and I doubt this has been done in a very long time. That's one. It still doesn't want to go. 2, nice. If anyone's wondered why I've had to take the center lock off to take the brakes off, normally if you were to do this on a regular car, no, you wouldn't have to do that. But the wheel bearing and ABS ring is part of the brake disc on these cars. So you have to take the wheel bearing off to be able to get to it. I mean, it's better, at least it's serviceable, but it's still a pain in the arse. If you're doing this as well, it's vital that you keep this spacer installed. So make sure you take note which way that goes round. Now, if you can't put your caliper carrier on, then your actual caliper can move backwards and forwards based on if your sliders aren't completely screwed. Let's see if mine are. Now the block slides freely since we've copper greased that up, but I'm guessing over time that's just going to get nasty again. And the missing caps. I was trying for a long time to get this flexi pipe out, but I think I have this worked out. Now, I was looking at this wrong and thinking that this would just unbolt and then you could take it off. However, it seems that the hard line has to come out first, just loosen that and then pull it out a little bit. And then the flexi should just pop straight out of here. So I've been spending a lot of time on that side, messing about with this, trying to loosen it when it doesn't do that. I'm an idiot. Oh my god. So on the driver's side, I don't have a hard brake line. The reason for that is because I got a bit carried away with myself and took this one off. Now, this was the one that was rotten on the MOT. The rest of it actually seems alright, but this is a pain in the ass to get off because the brake servo is here. So I would have expected, oh, the line would just go into here. Nope, follows this green bit all the way past here. So the ABS module, where it plugs in right around there. So this is a pain in the arse to get to. However, I have got a solution. That being a brand new copper replacement for this. So I'm going to have to bend this up a little bit to make it actually fit in the engine bay. But once we've gotten that in, because it's copper, it should be easy to bend. Once that's in, that's everything with the brake lines done. And then we can just bleed it from here. This ended up being an eternity of feeding the brake line in, bending it round, putting it in the hole, and then realizing it's not in the right spot. So bending it again, putting it in, and the thread's not lining up again. Over and over and over again, to the point that it was dark by the time I'd finished. Done.
Problem. Big problem. When it came time to bleed the rear brakes, we discovered that there was a major brake fluid leak along one of the existing hard lines that went from the front to the very back of the car. Now, I decided that I would try and get these brake lines off and just see what the issue was. The problem is that the nuts getting these off just completely and utterly rounded. We can't get these off now without cutting the brake lines and then getting a breaker socket on there to actually try and get them off. So this is kind of going to be left sat where it is. We're going to have to replace those lines and bleed it in the future. So it's won this battle. It's not won the war though. We're going to get this car on the road soon. Cheers guys. Take care.